Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today in today's webinar for email design within the drag and drop editor. Today's training is designated for beginners and also just individuals that want to get a refresher on how to use the drag and drop editor within your PowerMail tool. So this is the first part out of a two-part series for the email design. So we're going to be having an introduction to designing emails using the drag and drop editor. This will include looking at the text version of the email along with your email analysis. This training will not be covering other aspects of PowerMail. So in our next training, we're going to be looking more about the results tab and what it means to, create a quote unquote title, subject line using the properties tab of when building your email. But primarily today's focus is going to be looking at designing your PowerMail layout and so forth. So today our main learning objective is going to be how to create a new email and also how to be able to duplicate an existing email using the drag and drop editor. And again, a gentle reminder, if you have any questions at any point in time, feel free to put in the chat box. Otherwise, if you think something at a future point in time, feel free to go under your help dropdown and click on the support request option to be able to open ticket inquiry, and someone will get back to you in a timely manner as it will be get taken into our ticketing queue. And also, if you have any questions at any point in time, feel free to put in the chat box, but we will be having some time towards the end to go over that. So again, ideally, you should have a drop down called communication and an option called PowerMail. If by chance you're not quite seeing this, feel free to reach out to me and we'll make sure that your permissions are all turned on and go from there. So what I went ahead and did is I clicked on the PowerMail or the communication drop down and clicked on the PowerMail option. And as we can see here, we get taken to this screen. On this screen, we have our folders located on your left-hand side. And then based on the folder that is selected, it'll show you the quote unquote issues slash emails that have been created pertaining to that specific folder. So if I wanted to work on an e-newsletter and say I click on the change date header, it's going to allow me to sort either by ascending or descending order. So say if I also wanted to look for a specific PowerMail that I had already created, we can look it up by clicking on the search PowerMail. Additionally, there's two ways to really go about creating a PowerMail, right? The first one is going to be by clicking on the plus icon, whether it's this one up here or the one below it. And so if you click on it, you have two options. There's the drag and drop editor and the HTML editor. While we don't necessarily uh, continue to support the HTML editor, meaning we're not releasing new updates compared to the drag and drop editor. The HTML editor is still available for those who are just more accustomed to it or more used to it, and would prefer to use that HTML editor. Otherwise, the drag and drop editor is going to be um, the best tool, as it will allow you to design and add more features and functionalities compared to the HTML. So you click on either or, and once you do, you just get taken into the properties tab of when you're creating your PowerMail. Alternatively, so if I go into an existing PowerMail and I go to the properties tab of it, I'll just click duplicate and click OK. And as we can see, it's created a copy of that original issue that I've created. So what I can do here, just to make sure I have the updated and working on the updated version, I'm going to go ahead and delete the copy of update the title where needed, the subject line. We'll just go ahead and say June, since June is right around the corner. And as I mentioned today, we're not going to be looking at this whole page just today, but we're going to be looking at it on Thursday. But essentially this would just handle like the subject line of your PowerMail, along where the PowerMail is going to be located, in which folder, and so forth. So I'm going to click submit. Going to click design. And so we're primarily going to be looking at the add design, analyze, and text tab today. And then the next section, we're going to be looking at the properties, tell a friend, publish, / results, or results tab. So as you can see, it will already take what I've already created from that previous existing issue. The idea when you are using the drag and drop editor is that you want to go ahead and create sort of the structure of your PowerMail first. And so if we go on to the rows tab from the right hand side, we can see that we have these grade blocks, right? So these grade blocks are pretty much what would set your layout of your PowerMail. So say we're going to be using this one right here, and we drag it there. It'll create sort of these squared blue blocks. So we're not quite finished here. So let's say I want to do another one down here. I went ahead and added it there. So say, okay, well, I've had, okay, up here I have my banner block. Up here I want to create another text block. And then, similar to here, another text block. That's what we have there. But once I've already set up the sort of, again, layout foundation of how my PowerMail is going to be seen, then we can go to the content tab and decide what content we want to put in those structure blocks. So say in this case, I wanted to do a video within this larger content block. I just click and drag to put in that block like what I want it to be. Additionally, let's say I want to do a menu up here, and let's say I wanted to do another image up here. And for the sake of this purpose, we'll just say that we want to do a Jiffy sticker here. And then let's see, what do we have here? Okay. And then a Jiffy image. So your drag and drop editor, like I mentioned before, you want to have an idea of like what content you want to include in the PowerMail, to what that layout of that PowerMail is going to look like, and then go ahead and add, whatever content you wanted to those blocks. So the beauty about the drag and drop editor is that it is visually based. It does create highly responsive emails. And when we say responsive, we mean that the email adapts to its display to match the size of the screen. There's been a study where over 50% of emails are open on a mobile device. So a lot of the times you want to have the idea that you want to design for mobile. So again, here we've already have a structure blocks along with the content associated within the structure blocks. If we click, so for example, right now I have this whole section highlighted, we can see that we have row properties associated with this big block. And so we can have, okay, do we want to stack on mobile? Yes. This is the order that I wanted to have it be displayed. You can also manage the sizing of your columns. So if I click and drag, you'll notice that it'll either shrink or make things slightly larger. And then along with the column background to sort of modify this particular section. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just click browse to add an image. If you don't already have an image in mind or within your file manager, you'll want to click upload and select from, your desktop slash folder. And so here you can also use the search free photos. Let's see if we can find maybe newsletter. And yeah, so you could do like a quick, topic right here on the top right corner, use some of the stock images. Here I'll probably go ahead and use, we'll just use this one. So we did an import. Once we click import, we're going to click insert. And so if we click insert, we notice that we've added the image. As you click on the image, you can also apply different effects and more to the specific image. So here you can add a filter. You could resize it if needed, crop it, um, transform it, meaning, you could rotate it from side to side. Add text if you like to on the image, shapes. So you can, continue to keep viewing what those are, add stickers, frames, and so forth. And once you've made those updates, you'd want to make sure to click okay. So here I'm just zooming in and zooming out. I see that there's this like white line on the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly remove that. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. You can change sort of like the sizing of what you would want it to look like. So I'm going to click save, especially if you wanted to have a specific ratio for it. All right, so that looks better. So here, as we can see, I've had that image highlighted. You can also associate a special link. So link it to, let's say, one of your data bank forms. So here we can say, I want to use the donate to our nonprofit forms. And as you can see, we have a sort of URL naming convention here within the URL block. So here, what I want to demonstrate very briefly is I want to demonstrate the ability of, how to identify your links when you know, send out your PowerMail and people start clicking. How do you identify and name your links without having to try to decipher from the results tab what link is what? So here, and you can find the URL. So like, what a specific hyperlink does, within images, within a text, um, and what is it? Within the buttons as well. And so here, as we can see, we have click through equals donate banners equals followed by the URL. So this particular naming convention will allow you to modify and customize what you want your links to be named and to be displayed as you are looking at your results page. So what it is, it's https colon slash click through equals your name of your URL. So this could be whatever you want it to be. So rather than donate banners, I could say donate 2024 form, right? And when I go to the results page and people start clicking that, I'll say, okay, 20 people clicked on the join 2024 form, right? And rather than trying to decipher, what link that might be without having, any of this and just the URL. Because what the system will do is most of the time it will just take part of the ending of the URL. And so sometimes it's just harder to tell what link belongs to what. And then followed by the actual URL. So if you have www, you would include www dot, let's say, ournonprofit.com, and then followed by a bracket. So this is very simple. You don't have to memorize it because worst comes to worst, if you just, want to follow the same, you know, the ability of customize your hyperlinks. You can just use the special links right here and pull it from an existing form and then just, update, these two things, but of course, making sure you have that ending bracket and making sure you don't have HTTPS twice. So you don't want to have the HTTPS followed by the www here because it'll be already listed here. Um, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But just kind of for the sake of a lot of purposes, I know sometimes when we are doing hyperlinks for even just like, you know, a one word that we wanna highlight in the body of our email, we'll just, put the URL, rather than kind of establishing that, naming convention. So here it already did it by default because it's already taking a donation form. So which because again, if you are using like a donation form, um the system will also track, how many donations did, come in via the specific email on itself, since it'll take the contacts, information from their web ID. So based on the email that is sent out to them, an email address. So as we can see, as we highlight, the different sections of these little content blocks will have different content properties associated to them. So this can be customized as much or as little as you'd like. So the menu right here is primarily meant to use as a um, sort of a anchor link tabs, and so we have a support uh article within our support center talking about anchor links and how you can associate that from to different sections of your PowerMail, especially if you have a lengthy message but you also want individuals to just be able to click and go to a specific section of your PowerMail. So again, just different options that you can incorporate within, your menu items. The other things that I do want to go ahead and make sure I spend some time with, as I know our time is approaching here at the end, is of course, within the body of your Power Mail, you can incorporate merge tags. So depending again what kind of information you're trying to convey to your constituents slash recipients, you may or may not want to, use these. But the ribbon will be pretty much the same compared to like, your Gmail, Outlook, etc. So I won't spend so much time there. But the merge tags. So the merge tags is, and crucial in the sense that if the system does have that information for that contact record within your data bank, it will pull it into the email. And so when the recipient receives it in their inbox, they'll have that information for them. So here's a list of all sort of the merge tags that are available to use. Um, when it comes down to, let's say, end of the year, tax summary information, the one that ends up being the more uh, useful in this sense would be the gift block. So as we can see here, I've already added it to my body of my Power Mail. And we'll notice that when we click on the publish of this Power Mail, it's going to ask us, okay, what's the time frame that you want to show the summary of contributions for this recipient or recipients. So we'll be able to manage that within the publish tab of the Parmo. And so of course, as I mentioned before, each section will have um, different ways that you can incorporate into your PowerMail. So here's a Jiffy. Jiffy you can't really upload because it's just based on sort of that file manager with Jiffy. So here we'll just say newsletter. And of course, just depending what message you want to convey, that this might look a little bit different uh for you or for the specific email that you want to sent out, and the Jiffy sticker is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be as uh flowy as the other one. So here we can just, let's say, put this one. And you can see it just moves, back and forth, but then this one is just simultaneously, continuously doing so. So again, just an option there. And then of course, each Jiffy can have, a special link. So if someone does click on it, they can be taken to another page, to a file. So I know sometimes individuals ask if we can upload like a PDF of some sort, and so the answer is yes, you can incorporate a PDF of, whatever the case might be. So as an example here, if someone were to click on this image, um, sometimes again, this is the drag and drop editor doesn't automatically do this naming convention. So if I were to look, let's say, at my results tab, I might just see um, an indication that says someone clicked on 0458 link. And I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'm not sure what that is. Right. So, in order to sort of get around that, what I would just do is I would just take this, copy it, update this information. So, here I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. Just delete that so it's not creating extra stuff. And again, I already had that HTTPS in the beginning. So here we'll just say uh, form PDF. And then when I do this and publish it, it's actually going to demonstrate in my results tab. Oh, okay. So 20 people clicked on the form PDF link. And this is going to be the way that I can identify that. And so last but not least, of course, the buttons can, pretty much do like what the image and all of these other things can do. So as far as like being able to incorporate, like an action with it, right? Whether it's opening a new page on your website, whether it's linking it to a video or a form, again, just making sure that we do that within the action section of your um, of your right hand side properties. So last but not least, the only one thing that I would say is a little bit different is just like the social sharing icons. So within when you are doing the social sharing icons, so I click add new icon, you'll notice that there's a few different tabs, right? The social follow, it means for your organization to incorporate, say, your organization's social media handle so individuals can follow you on that platform. So in this case, like, let's just say we're doing Instagram. You would put Instagram.com followed by like your organization's username. So these are all more of the social sharing icons. So where individuals can um, follow you on that platform. The social share, however, is for individuals to be able to share your email onto these designated platforms. So I click on the F icon, share on, and that would be the end of it. So no further action to do or to do here. So I'm going to click delete just to remove that since I don't want to create, two same similar icons. So if there's a way for me to distinguish it, you can click on more icons and modify any specific text that you want to incorporate here. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. I'll just go ahead and click to remove this particular tag. So I'm going to click on this trash icon, click save. And as you can see here, as I click save, it's going to give me this drop down here. So if I have previous versions that I want to restore to, just kind of based on any changes that I have made, I can do so by reverting to that specific version. Also over here on the bottom left corner, I have this autosave option turned on. And so basically allowing me to make sure that the PowerMail is just saving on its own. And then the Analyze tab. So the Analyze tab, as you can see here, it's just say, okay, it's looking good. You have a basic or comprehensive. I'm not going to go into the comprehensive just because sometimes it does take a minute longer to load, since essentially it just has more options compared to the basic analysis. And so here, we'll see how the PowerMail would look in different platforms, such as the desktop clients, Outlook Office 365, AOL, Gmail, Firefox, etc. And so the comprehensive analysis will just be a little bit more options compared to what it is. And so the text. So one thing to just say about briefly about the text is that the text content, you don't have to manually come in and modify this information. The system will automatically do this for you. But in essence, by clicking the import the text from your HTML message, you can just modify and customize what the quote unquote text version of your email would be. The reason why text versions are important is because lacking a text version is a spam red flag. So spammers do not care about text and will negatively impact email deliverability. But again, if you don't manually do this, it's okay, because the system will automatically just create it for you. And then additionally, the reason why text versions of your PowerMail are important is due to accessibility case. So where low bandwidth constituents may have text email as their default, especially in rural areas. Or additionally, where low vision constituents rely on screen readers, and screen readers really rely and prefer the text versions. It's just easier to navigate and understand emails. So, in other words, text versions of emails are important from a practical standpoint for deliverability and an ethical standpoint for accessibility. So yeah, as a rule of thumb, always just try to analyze it using the Analyze tab. And then additionally, test the Power Mail. So send the Power Mail to yourself, to a colleague, make sure all links are working, everything's going okay. And then, as I mentioned before, because I incorporated that gift block merge tag, it's asking me, okay, what is the date of the donations that you want to include for, this Power Mail. So it could be from January 1st, 2024, all the way up until, let's say, uh, May 28th, 2024, to incorporate all of those donations from that time frame into the summary of your email that you're sending out. And of course, the top section is to test it, but once we scroll down, we can see that we can send it to the 208 mailable contacts of those that are subscribed to the monthly e-news. By default, the list name is just batch, so your first batch, second batch, but it can be customized. It's all internal markers only, so activity note, it's going to be what gets attributed to a contact record. And then of course, here's where you would also designate, okay, what are the contribution dates for this? Do I want to send it now, send it later? You can schedule up to 10 days in advance. And this is only to ensure we are remaining compliant of, those who might unsubscribed and have to, respect opt-outs from that specific time frame. And then last but not least, make sure you send it to your contacts. And yeah, so that's kind of the first portion of your um, webinar for today regarding the email design using the drag and drop editor. Let's go ahead and go over some questions that anybody might have. And let me take a look. Yep, someone said if I could send the hyperlink um sort of naming convention. That's what I like to call it, the hyperlink naming convention. Again, I I can see how it can be easy, just to kind of just take this and put it in that URL, of a image or a button and things like that. But following that naming convention, it would reduce sort of that strain, that headache of trying to identify what link belongs to what when we're looking at the results page. Let's see. Yep. The information is how can I revisit, this information. So what's gonna happen between today and Thursday is I have to go into the recordings themselves, like download them from the cloud, make sure, I cut off the pieces where, I'm saying, like, can we record this video or, things like that. So I have to edit them just a little bit. So I probably want to say they should be up in our support center, hopefully by no later Thursday. The section that I personally make sure that the recordings are located under, I believe, are under the news and guides section. So click on the news and guides, and there's a section called training webinars. So if you haven't had a chance already, we do have a recording for our DBot AI powered communication assistant, which I briefly talked about but didn't go into too much detail, and that's this little guy right here. So as when you're creating your power mails, oh, and I should have spent some time with this, is that you can also generate visual images here. So you can tell it, to do, let's say, uh, newsletter. Let's just say newsletter. Of course, the more specific and precise you are, probably the better results it would generate or match to a specific, thing that you might, be thinking of. Again, this is just another sort of extra tool that you can utilize to just, include into your Power Mail. It's not mandatory, it's not necessary, but it's there. And so we highly encourage you to check it out, provide feedback if you have any. This was just recently released. And so of course, as much feedback we get, the more we know, what kind of things you like to see within your data bank system as well. So again, let me know if you have any questions, and yeah, we'll go from there, and I'll make sure to see you guys on Thursday. Yep, no problem. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you.